Well, good morning, everybody. TGIT. We are almost to the weekend. Look at that. Ooh, let everybody get settled in, come in. Make sure your reminders are set because I have a feeling the U.S. Marshals are going to find Travis Decker real soon. If you remember the case of Casey White and Vicky White, you will remember that the U.S. Marshals are the wanted dead or alive tribe, okay? They're really not into handcuffing and bringing people to the sheriff. They're more of this person is dangerous. This person is a threat to himself. He's a threat to others, he or she. I get a little confused, not to cross cases, in the Sebastian case when people keep sending me this petition to sign to get the FBI and U.S. Marshals to take over Sebastian's case. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll sign it 50 times. Hey, whatever. They're not going to do it. There's a certain protocol for how people get involved. In this case, which just happened last week, May 30th, is horrific. We have talked about a lot of tough stuff on here, but this one, whoa. His military training, listen, this dude, he wasn't just, sweeping the floors at some stupid base somewhere. Well, none of them are stupid. He's a trained Army Ranger. They said he had caches all through the woods. He knows how to stay away. He's not worried about going to the local Walmart and getting him a Stouffer's dinner and heating it up. He's not wired like that. Now, a lot of questions going around. I'll start with the questions about Travis Decker. Once they find him, presumably alive, will he get insanity and be put in a hospital for life? Or will he get life in prison? I'm not on the up and up for the death penalty in Washington. The quickest thing I could find using my Google fingers was that they don't use the death penalty. So what do you think will happen if they find him alive? Contemplate on that. Also, I've seen some things in comments where people are honestly trying to blame Whitney Decker. I am not understanding that at all. How on earth can you blame her? He's not supposed to have overnight visits. When the children didn't come back at a certain time, she wasn't sitting there playing phone tag with Travis. She called the police. And very unfortunately, they found her 3 daughters zip-tied, asphyxiated. It's a horrible situation. Damn. Well, I tell you what, it doesn't take them too long, does it? Well, let's take a second and tell everyone good morning, and we are going to break this down best we can. We're going to do our own deep dive. Can't imagine this woman's poor life. For one, on some level, she has to love the dude. They have had 3 children together. She's been advocating for him, from what I can see just by everything I've heard, that she wanted more help from the Veterans Administration to get him on the up and up. It is reported that he was an Army Ranger. He left voluntarily, probably because they found that borderline personality disorder. And they said, we can do this one of 2 ways. You leave voluntarily or you get dishonorably discharged, because that's how the military does it. But this talking about Whitney is nuts. Needless right here, she said he's perfectly sane, premeditated. I have a feeling this was totally premeditated. There was a report, I believe the New York Post put it out, that when he went to pick up the girls, he was calm, more calm than it was mentioned by Whitney how calm he was. And since they're talking about, well, obviously he brought supplies with him in order to unalive his 3 beautiful daughters. All right, hang on. Unnamed TC with Avery. I have 3 children in the military. If they find mental illness, they will do a medical discharge. You're exactly right. For you to get better. If you do not get better or do not comply with medication, they give you 2 options. You can voluntarily leave, or we're going to give you a dishonorable discharge. Yeah. This is horrible. All right, so let's go with the first press conference. The very first one. And it's a bad one. It's a real bad one. And again, I can't imagine being Whitney.
Lead away, sir. Not a very big podium. Is everybody ready? Try not to tip over the podium here. Okay, I am Captain Brian Chance with the Wenatchee Police Department. This is Sheriff Morrison, obviously, with the Chelan County. And I'm going to start out the press release and talk about how we got to where we did just a couple of days ago or just yesterday. So I'll start off and give you a timeline of the involvement of Wenatchee Police Department in this case. On May 30th, at about 9:35 p.m., Wenatchee police officer Corporal Gonzalez responded to a call of a civil complaint. In responding to that call, he interviewed Whitney, the mother of the 3 young girls. There was no reported history of problems with the parenting plan. There were reported concerns.
He's getting twisted in his words. He's shook up. He is shook up. Have a question from Kat. She said, sorry if I missed this, but are the U.S. Marshals in yet? Oh, yeah. They have thrown the whole kitchen sink at this. FBI, behavioral science analysis, certain members of the CIA, Border Patrol to make sure he doesn't get into Canada, search and rescue, mountain rangers, U.S. Marshals, Sheriff's Office, I mean, you name it.
Of Travis being homeless and financially stressed recently. Whitney was clear that during the exchanges that had occurred in the past, that Travis was very communicative with her in any deviations from the parenting plan. Corporal Gonzalez, after speaking with Whitney, was able to identify Decker's vehicle through a local database called Spillman. He took the vehicle information and was able to enter it into Flock, which is a system of cameras that are located within the city and also in Chelan County. Flock located the vehicle, the white GMC Sierra, traveling northbound across the Wenatchee River Bridge. This was shortly after Decker had picked up the children for the visitation. After this information was obtained, and in addition to information that had been received by Whitney that Travis frequented local hotels and often local campgrounds as well, all local hotels and campgrounds in East Wenatchee and Wenatchee were checked by patrol officers from those jurisdictions, and Decker was not located. Park rangers were also contacted at Confluence Park and made aware of the situation. An attempt to locate was then sent out by Corporal Gonzalez to all regional agencies containing Decker's information along with the vehicle information. After that, Corporal Gonzalez made contact with Washington State Patrol and consulted their unit for an Amber Alert. The information at the time did not meet the threshold for an Amber Alert. On May 31st, Corporal Gonzalez contacted Sergeant Eaton at about 7 a.m. and advised him of the situation. After that.
Okay, this guy's nervous, you can tell. I don't blame him. I couldn't imagine being these first responders and coming across these three beautiful, beautiful little girls in the shape that they were left in. Look at them. Look at them. Olivia, Evelyn, and Peyton. Olivia, Evelyn, and Peyton. I'd be too choked up to talk. There's Whitney with the girls. And when I first saw Whitney's picture, I certainly don't want her to hear this and think I'm, say anything bad about her, because I'm not. The first thing I thought was, how the hell did that dude get her? He's a greasy looking mess. Well, she posted a picture in her Facebook group. It's called Remembering Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. Check it out. There's tons of information in there. And she posted a picture of what he used to look like. Much, much different. Much different. This is a huge decline. Huge decline. Big time. Jules says, who thinks this was planned? Me. He was very subdued when he went to get the girls. He knew he was only supposed to have them for a few hours. No overnights are allowed. He had zip ties. He had bags for their heads. He had a plan. He had a plan.
Conversation had occurred. Detective Brian Hewitt with the Wenatchee Police Department and Detective Sergeant Joe Eaton discussed the incident as well. And Detective Hewitt responded that day to continue the investigation. The family was contacted and additional information was obtained. He learned Travis and the daughters did not arrive at a planned 5K running event that morning, which was out of the ordinary to Whitney. Travis had recently had a recent history of attending and being present for all the daughters' events and programs. And, at that point, Detective Hewitt started to reach out to some of his contacts at the state and federal levels as well. He enlisted the assistance of the FBI, and with assistance from the FBI, phone location data was obtained for Thursday through Friday, plotting locations in and around Leavenworth. Detective Hewitt then, with that information, went to Leavenworth and started focusing on the areas of Chumstick and Icicle Road, and did not have any success in locating Travis or his vehicle or the girls. Throughout.
Key word in that last paragraph is plotting. Okay? So I think we can smell what he's stepping in, this officer. Plotting. Question is, how long was he plotting? Remember, he's an Army Ranger. He's a survivalist. But why? If he just wants to go out in the woods and live, have at it, dude. Have at it. But why on earth did you take your children out? Really? Jules said, Brooks, I know a crazy Connie. Yeah, she lost her shit again a couple weeks ago. Not going down that road again. We okay. We good in this hood.
That day, Detective Hewitt had multiple contacts again with WSP, or Washington State Patrol, and continued to provide updates and request an Amber Alert, which still the information that he provided and had obtained did not meet the threshold for the Amber Alert to be activated. However, an Endangered and Missing Person Alert, an EMPA, was activated by the Washington State Patrol at approximately 4:00 p.m. I want to explain a little bit that the Endangered and Missing Person Alert does generate a flyer that goes out to all the contacts through that State Patrol Missing and Endangered Person Unit. So that goes statewide. As well, the information for the alert is posted on the reader boards that I'm sure everybody's familiar with on the state highways around Washington. And those were activated here locally on the major ingress and egress highways such as Highway 2 and I-90.
Okay, I'm glad he cleared that up because there's a lot of outrage that there wasn't an Amber Alert. Wasn't an Amber Alert. Every state has a different higher alert when it comes to, I'll say missing children because we're talking about missing children. In Oklahoma, our Amber Alert is really not a big deal. Well, it's a big deal. I'm saying it's not the same alert that went out in the case for Jesse McFadden, okay? For Ivy and Brittany. When you see that alert, you're like, now this is something totally different. I'm to the point with, some people, I just want to say, don't worry about the alert. Your ass wasn't going to go out and search for the children anyway. And don't worry about the polygraphs because they're not admissible in court. Just get to the facts, take a chill pill, get some fucking flip-flops. And if those don't work for you, go fuck yourself with a dildo. Let law enforcement do what they need to do. It's for them, not for us.
Also, on May 31st, Detective Hewitt had developed and communicated probable cause for custodial interference first degree, 3 counts of custodial interference first degree, and began assembling the paperwork to obtain those warrants. The following day, on June 1st, Detective Hewitt conducted additional follow-up and completed his initial report and request for the arrest warrants for custodial interference, which were granted and later entered into the system. The following day, which was Monday, the WPD Detective Unit met to devise a plan for the day on follow-up and submitting necessary paperwork for the warrant to ensure that had all gone through. WSP was contacted again, referenced the Amber Alert, yet we still didn't meet the criteria. The EMPA was deemed to be the best fitting alert. And one of the things that I want to share with everybody about that EMPA, because it is a, I'll say, level below or degree below the Amber Alert, it actually comes with an expiration time. And we were able to work with WSP because we did actually reach our expiration for that alert. And it, by policy, was supposed to have been pulled down. But through good communication, good cooperation, and the relationship that we've built with Washington State Patrol over a long period of time, they agreed to leave that up. And we also enlisted the cooperation of the Department of Transportation as well, who has some input and does actually help WSP run those reader boards as well. So we were able to get that cooperation. And so I want to emphasize that WSP was very good to work with, as was DOT, and we had that information up and available to the public for as long as possible, extending past what the policy said it should have been up there for. Also on Monday, CCSO detectives were contacted and assisted. We communicated with them and developed a plan for CCSO detectives to check the areas of Chumstick and Icicle Road as well. Myself, Sergeant Eaton, and Detective Hewitt, shortly after coordinating with CCSO units, contacted the family and requested a meeting at the Wenatchee Police Department with the family and family representatives at approximately 10 a.m. The primary intent of the meeting was to provide an update to the family and answer any questions that they had about the ongoing investigation. The meeting was very positive and focused on maintaining good communication flowing back and forth both directions to maximize the exchange of information. At about 3:47 p.m., a CCSO deputy located the vehicle up the Icicle near the Rock Island campground. Sergeant Eaton and Detective Hewitt immediately responded to there to assist, and I remained at WPD to continue communication with the family and to coordinate additional law enforcement assistance from down here in the valley should it be needed. Upon arrival at the camp, upon arrival up there, the WPD units that responded connected with CCSO deputies that had responded to the scene as well. And from there, they began their ground search of the immediate area around the vehicle. The initial information that we were provided following the locating of the vehicle was that the vehicle was unoccupied. And shortly thereafter, we were advised that the bodies of the 3 young girls had been located in relatively close proximity to that vehicle. And Travis was nowhere to be found. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to Sheriff Morrison and allow him to continue the press conference.
Thank you, Captain. Evening. I'm Chelan County Sheriff Mike Morrison. I appreciate all you being here. I really want to make sure that I point out that it's moments like these where we see our community coming together, paying respects to those young individuals that lost their lives. I want to pay respects to Peyton, Evelyn, Olivia. Your memory will never be forgotten, and we will not stop pursuing justice for you until those that were accountable for this.
They're saying this guy is taking this way, way hard. Remember, back the blue. And he's going to turn some of you lesbians in here straight. He's going to be like, woo, I can see you ladies already. He's having a really hard time with this. Jules said, where did the blood come from if he put bags on their heads? It's his blood, is what they're assuming. They're adult handprints. It almost makes me wonder if he tried to do something to himself and then just didn't have the nerve to go through it. They're adult handprints. And they're still trying to determine if it's his blood or if just somebody was out a very, 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 very remote place in the Pacific Northwest that was bleeding and put it on the truck. Seems like they're his.
Are found. So I do appreciate everyone being here. To follow up, because I know the Captain Chance has already touched on a lot of the topics that we've already discussed, I want to give thanks to the Wenatchee Police Department, Chief Reinfeld, Captain Miller, Captain Chance, Sergeant Eaton with the Detectives Unit that provided Chelan County Sheriff's Office with the information we needed to properly assist them. For those who don't know, Chelan County is a large area. We have 2,900 plus square miles. When you're talking about trying to find individuals in a geographically diverse terrain, it's difficult. But by them doing their investigation, follow through over the weekend, we're able to pinpoint it in the areas of Chumstick Highway, Icicle, Tumwater Canyon. I know that many of you here from the area recognize that's still a pretty large area, but we're fortunate to have partnerships with the U.S. Forest Service that funds some of our deputies, specifically U.S. Forest Service deputies that are contracted with us. Our Forest Service deputy was able to go up the Icicle. We're about 18 miles up for those of you who have not been up there. And that deputy was able to locate the vehicle of the suspect. We did back off to make sure we were in compliance with Washington state law when it comes to de-escalation, controlling pace. We called additional units. I know that many members of the community were concerned, asking why we were having deputies, police officers from East Wenatchee, Douglas County, Wenatchee PD, responding at a high rate of speed. This was an important situation for us. We took it as a high priority. Once we had additional units on scene, We did secure the vehicle, determined that we were able to bring in additional resources, which was our East Cascade SWAT team that did an additional search of the surrounding area of the campsite in question until we determined that a perimeter had been established and that it was safe enough for additional detectives and the Washington State Patrol's crime lab to come in and assist us as we process that scene. As Captain Chance already mentioned, that was prompted when we did find the bodies of the deceased. Again, our condolences and our heartfelt sympathy goes out to the Decker family. We know they're struggling, but I want them to know they're not struggling alone. We suffer as a community. It has hit many of us hard. Going on 20 years, I don't think I've had a situation that has really almost prompted tears to come up. We feel for the family, and we see as everyone else is out here, they're not suffering alone. There's a lot of people here supporting them. We were able to do an extensive processing of the scene throughout the night while we maintained perimeter security. Once that was secured, the vehicle was taken back for an additional search warrant. We brought in additional units to come in and assist us. That'd be our federal partners from U.S. Border Patrol, Homeland Security Investigations, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Marshal's Office. They did an extensive search today, in addition to the Air National Guard, bringing in aviation supplies to come in, fly over there. We had drones in the air. We've been conducting a search since early this morning up until later on this afternoon. That, unfortunately, has not allowed us to locate the suspect yet, but we are not done searching. As we speak, the Marshal's Office, the FBI, they're processing leads, they're conducting follow-up, and we will not rest until Travis is located. Travis, if you're listening, this is your opportunity to turn yourself in. Do the right thing, do what you need to do, and take accountability for your actions. We're not going to go away. We're not going to rest.
This idiot on Law and Crime, every now and then I entertain them, said, well, I think they kind of now mind you, he's a defense attorney. He goes, I kind of think they might have jumped the gun by charging him the way they did. I think they have quite a bit of evidence that he is more than involved in the horrible murders of his daughter. Hey, Krista, what's up? What's up? Just Wimbles, thank you so much for the super sticker. Nufflin said, sorry to ask, I'm too German. Ooh, baby. What does Ranger mean? It's a specialty in the Army. Army Rangers, they're just known to be badasses. I'm going to post this again. Here's the page that Whitney has.
And we're going to make sure we find you. You will be brought to justice. Those young ladies deserve it. We will take additional questions later on, but the Sheriff's Office, the Wenatchee Police Department, East Wenatchee, Douglas County, and all of our federal partners are going to continue to work with one another to ensure that justice is served. Thank you.
Sheriff, is their dad still alive?
We are unsure if Mr. Decker is currently alive, but we are taking it that he is still out there. And again, we will not rest until we've located him, whether he's alive or he's dead. We want to make sure that he's brought back.
And for the public that's keeping an eye out for him, is there anything in his records that would suggest that he is black?
Not at this time, but based off the allegations that are being made against him, we do consider him to be a threat towards the community. We also ask the community to stay out of the Icicle Gorge area for the time being until we can secure that area and ensure that he is not there. That is a big area. We're talking about the enchantments. We're talking about French Creek, going up on those spur trails. It's a popular area that we like to recreate in as well. We don't close it down or encourage people not to go there lightly, but for the best interest of the public, we'd encourage them find other places to recreate until we can ensure that that area is safe. Can you come a little bit closer, ma'am? Thank you.
Would you mind providing a little bit additional details about the scene where the girls were found?
Within reason, but I'm not going to go into a lot of details in regards to the scene because our investigative unit has requested that a lot of that information remain private until we can ensure that the information we are sharing is not going to compromise the investigation. Again, we don't want to rush. We don't want to take any chances that we would give him any opportunity to be able to beat this later on in court.
Is there belief that he could be outside this area you guys are searching right now, or is there strong belief this is here?
Nope. We have no leads that are showing specifically where he's at. So as we're taking it, he could be anywhere within the nation. And that's why we have our federal partners on scene helping us bring in additional resources that a medium-sized agency like Chelan County would not be able to provide. Again, this is the importance of having those partnerships with federal government and larger agencies, especially Washington State Patrol. We cannot do this without their assistance, and we're thankful for that.
Do you have any reason to believe Mr. Decker might have
about the second vehicle to travel in?
That could.
You ladies, you damn horn dogs. Karma Libra said, I can come closer. LOL. V. Oakley said, what side of the bed did I wake up on? Good grief. Woo. V. Oakley said, please come closer. Woo. What am I going to do? I can smell the estrogen from here. It's like y'all are ovulating all at once. Damn. Calm down. Krista, I'm talking to the ladies in the chat. I'm not calling the little girls ladies. Goodness, girls. Woo.
Could be a possibility. Nothing's off the table. We're going to continue to actively pursue him, and we understand that he could be anywhere, and we're taking that into consideration. Thanks to the U.S. Marshal's Office that have come in and brought additional resources. Again, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, Homeland Security Investigations. We are searching anywhere and everywhere for him.
Sheriff, thanks for taking our questions. Have you had any contact with Mr. Denver's family?
We've been in continuous contact. I know that Captain Chance and Captain Miller have been in regular communications with them. I spoke with them yesterday and today and assured them that anything they needed from our local resources, they were available. They are absolutely cooperating. They have been very supportive of our efforts, and we've reminded them we could not do this. We could not conduct our investigation and have a better understanding of Travis without their assistance. And again, we're very appreciative of what they've done so far.
Is Upper Icicle Road still physically barricaded to the point where people cannot travel further?
Our barricade will be lifted later on today. Again, we have continued to expand.
Okay, that's actually really important. That's really important because he's saying, the barricade will be lifted. Seems to me they've already searched where they wanted to search. They are going to find him. Uh-oh. TT Driver said, simmer down, you damn badge bunnies. I'm a badge bunny. I got pictures of my husband in his uniform. Yes. Yes. Oh, don't worry. You'll see more of the sheriff in a little bit because he did another update yesterday. But that's over for now. Now let's get to what I really hate to talk about, especially when it comes to children. Cause of death.
This morning, police in Washington state releasing new video of the man wanted in the deaths of his 3 young daughters. Travis Decker seen in this doorbell video just days before police say he killed 9-year-old Peyton, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 5-year-old Olivia.
Let's wrap this up and do what's right for your kids.
The girls left their mother.
I love when he said that. He said, let's do this right. And do right for your kids. Listen to how he said it again. Because really, the police have enough to worry about than having to deal with people that harm their children. It's insane to me that these things happen. He said, let's wrap this up and do right by your children.
Let's wrap this up and do what's right for your kids.
The girls left.
Do what's right for your kids. The police should not be fucking around with families. They shouldn't. We know the social workers, they miss the mark a lot. And this is another case, a little bit like Harmony, but not quite, where a judge was not cautious enough.
Left their mother's home Friday for a planned visit with Decker on Monday.
And no, I'm not blaming Whitney. This is Travis owns all this, okay? Travis owns all of this.
Authorities found his truck abandoned in the town of Leavenworth. The bodies of his 3 daughters found in the woods nearby, but Decker was gone.
He could have scoped out this area before, put supplies out there, and has the ability and the knowledge to survive for a long period of time.
His family says Decker is highly skilled in wilderness survival. Investigators also looking into his military background. He served in Afghanistan before joining the Washington Army National Guard.
clearly some of the knowledge he's probably acquired throughout his lifetime, in addition to the training he might or might not have acquired through the Army, is something we're taking into consideration.
Court documents say Decker had mental health issues. Police say it appears the girls were suffocated. Autopsy results coming as soon as today could help investigators piece together a clearer timeline. A reported sighting of Decker in Idaho was deemed not credible. Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
All right, so we know what happened to them. It is alleged that Travis Decker did it. USA Libertarian is spitting facts. If Whitney had refused the court-mandated scheduled visit and took off with the kids, there would be an Amber Alert for her, and she would be in hot water. These are things that people have to think through. And I do not believe for 1 second. I say this in the Gannon case quite a bit. I didn't say it in Quentin's case. Didn't say it in Harmony's, but I would say it in Gannon's quite a bit. Nobody in their right mind is going to think that your children are going to be away for a couple of hours with their own father and that they would be murdered. So I really hope that people lay the F off of Whitney. Because let's face it, she is in a world of hell. She has lost her husband, who she loved. She had 3 children with him. I guarantee she's not too damn happy with him right now. She loved him. They're having to protect her right now. Because what if he comes out of the woods and decides to take her to hell in his mind? That's how these people think. He could hurt her.
Greg, Joyce, that attorney was wrapping up a meeting with the mother, Whitney Decker, when we arrived here in Wenatchee this afternoon, along with U.S. Marshals and local law enforcement. Whitney was teary-eyed but composed and says she's not ready to talk, at least not yet. We are getting a fuller picture of Travis Decker, the man whose life appeared to be falling apart with mental illness, homelessness, and the inability to hold down a job. And access to his kids was cut to every other weekend after a custody hearing 9 months ago.
He was an engaged father. He did have some limitations on his parenting time due to his mental illness.
The mother's attorney in the custody case says Travis became homeless a year and a half ago after leaving the Army as a Ranger.
He left voluntarily, so I believe his discharge was honorable. I think as far as the reserves, he just stopped showing up.
The attorney says Travis worked a couple of minimum wage jobs and at one point was talking to the Carpenters Union about possible work, but his skills just didn't transfer.
There were no red flags. He was struggling with isolation. And
records show Decker was diagnosed with a serious mental illness. The attorney says that was most likely related to his combat and that Decker tried and tried to get help, but there was too much red tape to get veteran services.
And there's a huge decline in appearance. Just the way he takes care of himself. Okay. I'm not sympathizing with the guy. I'm not. I understand some things happened in Afghanistan that really put him over the edge. This is horrible. And I know people talk about the red tape with the VA and all that stuff. Well, you got to try, and try again. And with TRICARE, you are going to get your medication if you take it. If you take it. You got to take it. You have to comply.
she really feels that the system let her children down. It was the inadequacies in the services for our veterans that killed those children. That's it.
Okay, that's what Whitney has said. Listen to that again. This is what Whitney said to her attorney, who was saying it on the Seattle News.
She really feels that the system let her children down. It was the inadequacies in the services for our veterans that killed those children. That's it.
The attorney and the mom are also raising concerns about the state's Amber Alert system. Law enforcement officials say they did not see Decker as an immediate danger to his own children, so no Amber Alert was sent out. The attorney says the mother thinks that was a deadly mistake.
They did not see him as an immediate physical danger to his children, despite the fact that he had a well-established history of mental health issues. And had they had seen it that way, those children might still be alive. And that.
Can I speak candidly? Can I speak candidly? I respect our military to the nines, okay? To the nines, I do. But when it comes to 3 beautiful little girls that were found zip-tied and asphyxiated, it makes me really not give a shit what old Travis saw in Afghanistan. Because it's not those babies' fault.
That's the thing that is so brutal. And the one thing she's really hoping can be changed in this tragedy.
It appears Whitney has a lot of support around her tonight. Her mother was by her side this afternoon when we saw her, and that attorney told us that even Travis Decker's father has been talking to her by phone and is now flying in from the Midwest. Live in Wenatchee, Alex McClune, King 5 News.
And that's something that we forget. Travis has parents too. Travis has siblings. Travis has people that love him, and look at everything that they have lost. Their son's probably out in the woods somewhere. 3 granddaughters are gone. It's impossible to wrap your mind around this. And there was plenty of warnings. And no, I do not think that any of them are Whitney's fault. I think Whitney was going through the motions trying to make things better.
Tonight, a small memorial grows outside of an elementary school in Wenatchee in honor of 3 missing girls found dead following a visitation with their father. Good evening, I'm Steve Solis.
And I'm Mary Nam. The girls were reported missing Friday night. This morning, the Chelan County Sheriff's Office confirmed their bodies were found yesterday near the Rock Island campground outside of Leavenworth.
Investigators also found the truck belonging to their father, Travis Decker, who is now on the run and wanted for murder and kidnapping. We have team coverage tonight, including Jeremy Harris talking with State Patrol about why it never issued an Amber Alert for the girls.
We start with KOMO's Lynn Wynn live in Wenatchee, where a vigil for the sisters is about to start. Lynn?
Yeah, that vigil just getting started behind me. Dozens and dozens of people gathering here to remember the sisters tonight. Those girls were visiting, spending time with their father as part of court-ordered visitation, though according to court records, their father had been homeless, was not supposed to have any overnight visits, and was also experiencing mental health issues. The search for 5-year-old Olivia, 8-year-old Evelyn, and 9-year-old Peyton has ended in tragedy. Days after their father, Travis Decker, was supposed to bring them back to their mother. According to court documents, flock cameras and other resources helped authorities narrow the search down to the area of the Rock Island campground, where they found Decker's truck with 2 bloody handprints on the back. The bodies of all 3 girls were found about 75 to 100 yards away down an embankment. Investigators noted zip ties and plastic bags were scattered throughout the area, and it appeared the girls had been suffocated. Authorities blocked the area off to public access as community members learned the shocking news.
Having my own daughter, and if I cannot imagine if somebody can harm
That's shocking. I don't know what this mother is going through. It's probably that's the hell on earth.
Court documents reveal Decker was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and was supposed to get mental health treatment and anger management according to a court-ordered plan, but hadn't. All three victims attended Lincoln Elementary, where the community is reeling from the tragic loss. An online fundraiser has already collected nearly $200,000 for the victim's family. The organizer writes,
It's more than that. Just Me said their last minutes knowing what's happening. I can't get that out of my mind. They're out spending time with their daddy. Their mom said, go on, you're going to have fun with dad, and I'll see you in a couple of hours. And then this. And not that I've ever been through it, but suffocation, they say, is one of the worst ways to go. Now, part of the flack I think Whitney is getting is by people from all over that are putting money into this GoFundMe. And they seem to have some issue with it, and that's where it comes from. It's the green-eyed monster, okay? So what was $200,000, which is a lot of money, but won't last her the rest of her life, is almost up to $1 million. And I think that's where some of the bark back at Whitney's going. For one, Whitney didn't start this. A friend of hers did. She's lost her husband. And her 3 beautiful daughters. I think she needs all the love and support she can get, particularly in the world we live in.
These girls were a true light in this world, and it is a darker place without them. I will miss seeing their sweet little faces.
And Decker remains at large. The reward for any information that leads to his capture is now up to $20,000. Authorities also say that Decker is former military and has a lot of training and should be considered dangerous. We are continuing to stay out here and following as the community honors these 3 sisters, and we'll continue to bring you updates on air and online from here in Wenatchee. Reporting live in Wenatchee tonight, Lynn Wynn, KOMO News.
Woo! The question is he dead or alive? Is Whitney in danger? We don't know what mental state he's in right now. And I agree 100% with Chrissy. No amount of money can make up for such a huge loss. Jinbug, also that money isn't going to bring her babies back. She lost her whole life. Everything she knows, gone. Because even though her and Travis weren't together, you know she still loves him. They have 3 children together. She was trying to deal with what was going on. So he's a huge part of her life. And her daughters. Look at these babies. Look at these babies. Are found zip-tied. And I don't even want to say the rest. It's horrible. All right, we got more to go through. Now, remember, set your reminders because they're supposed to have a press conference today. And so I want to be live and shit. And all of us be together to hear the update.
Continue to follow the manhunt for Travis Decker, the man accused of murdering his 3 daughters. And late this afternoon, our Seattle sister station spoke exclusively with the attorney representing Whitney Decker, the mother of the 3 girls. Alex McClune joining us live now from Wenatchee tonight with more on that conversation. Alex?
Mark, that attorney was meeting with the mother, Whitney Decker, when we arrived here in Wenatchee earlier this afternoon, along with the U.S. Marshals.
Sorry, I played the wrong one. Thank you so much for Sophia Petrillo. Thank you so much. All right, Beigefield, she weighed in on this. And you ladies will love it. She had the sheriff on there too.
Where tonight we got word of a possible sighting of Travis Decker. Police aren't releasing any details, but that could change soon. So stay tuned to that. Decker is accused of murdering his 3 young daughters, Peyton, age 9, Evelyn, 8, and Olivia, 5. They were found dead on Monday near a campground, and police now say they were asphyxiated. Court documents indicate that their little wrists were zip-tied by their father. We're told that Travis Decker's truck was found nearby with 2 bloody handprints on it. The girls were last seen Friday after leaving a custodial visitation with Decker, who's described as a military vet with mental health struggles and no fixed address. I'm joined now by the man leading this manhunt, Chelan County Sheriff Mike Morrison.
Mike Morrison. We have a friend named Mike Morrison. My husband calls him Skeeter. Marta, there you go. If people don't like the idea of giving her money, then don't give to it. You only get the bitch if you threw $5 in the hat. I love that comment. I gotta play the music. That is perfect. STFU, unless you put the money in there.
Sheriff, thank you so much for joining me. Have you got any updates tonight?
Yeah, thanks for having us on. It's been a productive day. We've been working with our partners with the U.S. Marshals Service, Federal Bureau of Investigations, Border Patrol, Homeland Security Investigations, Washington State Patrols. We got a lot of resources on the ground. Been collecting a lot of information off cell phones, as you discussed in your last part. In addition to some interviews with family, friends, just getting a better understanding of Travis and what his thought process might be and where he's headed.
So there was some talk about a possible sighting. I know this video that's on the left-hand side of the screen a second ago was a video of him sort of around the time of the disappearance, but before the disappearance. It's just so that people would have an idea of really what he looks like. This is the most recent images that there are. Is that correct?
Correct. It was a couple of days before at a local grocery store here in Leavenworth, Washington. We've also shared some photos of what he looked like before. When he was in the military, more clean cut, just to give a better idea to citizens what he could look like if he decided to clean himself up.
So talk to me about that military piece, because it's been said that he's got some survival skills if he's been in the military. That certainly does present a little bit more of a challenge, doesn't it?
It does. And talking with his father today, we know that he's kind of had this background of being out in the woods, enjoying being out there since he was a young child. Times going out there for 2.5 months at a time. We know he's big into caching supplies. So if he did set it up beforehand and put supplies out there, it could make it more difficult to track him down. But we also have technology working on our side. Thanks to FLIR, we have our drones. We have cadaver dogs. We have ground units. Again, we have Border Patrol's search teams out there as well, assisting us just based off the terrain that we have here in Chelan County, very mountainous, wooded. And we want to provide every single opportunity we can for our guys to be successful and track them down.
Can you tell me a little bit more about these little girls and the circumstances in the discovery of them?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you mentioning my name, Peyton, Evan, Olivia, Evelyn, and Olivia. Just I think it pays respects to them, to the family. Wonderful young children. We've been talking to members throughout our community whose kids were also involved in sporting events with them. We talked with mom. Clearly, they were the joy of the family's life. Certainly, the community has been devastated by this loss. Each one of them was certainly going to be a rising star here and a future leader. So just unthinkable to think that a father could do this. I think all of us as parents, I'm a father myself, are going to look at, we would do anything possible to protect our kids, lay our lives down, and to see a cowardly act like this where he would take the life of his own children is just disgusting.
Not mincing words. A cowardly act like this where he would take the lives of his own children, it's just disgusting. Brainworm said, did he have an income? I know he was homeless. Yep, he definitely had an income, which tells you his mental state was not good because he chose to live in his truck or in the damn woods. Okay? And I like how the sheriff, says, I really want the names brought up of the girls to pay respect to them.
I think it pays respects to them, to the family. Wonderful young children. We've been talking to members throughout our community whose kids were also involved in sporting events with them. We've talked with mom. Clearly, they were the joy of the family's life. Certainly, the community has been devastated by this loss. Each one of them was certainly going to be a rising star here and a future leader. So just unthinkable to think that a father could do this. I think all of us as parents, I'm a father myself, are going to look at, we would do anything possible to protect our kids, lay our lives down. And to see a cowardly act like this, where he would take the life of his own children, is just disgusting. It's cowardice. And we have certainly viewed him as someone we're going to actively pursue and be an adversary towards him.
Can you tell me a little bit more? The detail that I learned today was chilling, that their wrists were zip tied. Was there any other detail about how their bodies were found that you could share?
Yeah, out of respect for the family, I made sure that I would not go into details in regards to how we found them. Unfortunately, we did find them deceased. We paid nothing but respect to them since that point, and hopefully tomorrow, when our coroners finish up their autopsy, we'll get a better understanding of what happened. But again, just unfortunate information that we got on, and again, we're going to hold Travis accountable for this.
Sheriff, can you tell me about the bloody handprints on the suspect's vehicle, on their father's vehicle? Were those likely his handprints or the children's?
Absolutely, it does look like the blood print that we found in the back of the truck was about the size of an adult handprint. We're unsure if that's coming from Travis or anyone else that might have been on scene. Again, we're not ruling anything out, but we will go through. We've got samples, thanks to Washington State Patrol and Chief Batiste for sending over his crime lab team. We had a several-hour assessment of the crime scene, collecting evidence. We've started processing that information in addition to processing electronic devices we found on scene. So we're hoping to get a better understanding of what happened.
Now, what I read in an article is when they found the truck, they found the bloody handprints on it. They found electronic devices, so they can't track him through geofencing unless he has a burner phone with him. And that's going to take him a while to track that down. He left his wallet behind, is what it said. But his father explained to the investigators, imagine what Travis's parents are going through. He is, I'll say, suspected of murdering their grandchildren. They know he's been having a real tough time. And now they're having to explain to the authorities exactly what winds his clock, Now, I don't know what caching means, but they say it's something that he knows how to do so he can stay in the woods for a long time. That he's a survivalist. He doesn't need a lot of food. He knows how to find water.
And who might have been on scene and where we can go from here.
Sheriff Morrison, stay close. We'll touch base with you as we continue to put his picture up there and try and get people aware of who they should be looking for and staying away from and calling you if they cite him. Thanks for being on tonight.
And that's exactly right. Who they should contact if they see him. Now, there was a sighting in Idaho yesterday. They've already said it wasn't him. Not him. Don't worry about it. But thanks for calling. They have made it clear. Hang on. Sparrow said, caching involves stashing supplies in specific locations. Ooh, okay. It's a lot for me. And I was a Girl Scout. We didn't do things like that. Wow. All right, so this is the most recent update.
Thank you, Sergeant. Try not to disturb anyone's microphones here. Do appreciate everyone coming out. We don't have as much information to provide today, but we have been working tirelessly throughout the day with our federal resources, state resources, neighboring agencies. As always, I'd like to start off just by recognizing the Decker family, let them know they're still very much in our thoughts and our prayers. We've been working hard. Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia are clearly a motivating force for us. A lot of our guys are working with sleep deprivation, but their thoughts are always on the girls and making sure that we're staying motivated and getting the results the family expects out of us. So, as we mentioned before, not much to go off of. We have been following leads thanks to the FBI and their analysis team that has been going out, processing social media leads throughout the nation, not just here locally. Following up those leads, we've been assigning detectives, marshal services, representatives to go out and do interviews. We also appreciate the nation police departments. We had one in McCall, Idaho today, was doing follow-ups for us. So we're not just keeping our focus here within Chelan County, we're also focusing nationwide on other leads that are coming out. Again, thank you to those police departments, sheriff's offices, state agencies across the nation that have stepped up to assist us and giving us the additional resources that we desperately need. Clearly, this is not the outcome we wanted to see. We were hoping that we could find Travis today, but we are feeling optimistic thanks to our marshals department that has come through and tracked down some good leads that we feel are giving us more of an insight into Travis's mindset, where he may have not gone or may have gone to. And we'd also like to thank the FBI and their behavioral analysts unit that has also gone through, done an assessment of some of the interviews that we've had regarding Travis and made a determination on maybe what his thought process was, what decisions he might have made, and where he had gone. In addition to our detectives also following through some of the financial documents.
Okay, we're going to go back to that. He's saying that they have the FBI behavioral analyst unit going through his thought process and where they think he could be. Woo. Woo. That unit does some crazy stuff. Okay? They do.
Into Travis's mindset, where he may have not gone or may have gone to. And we'd also like to thank the FBI and their behavioral analysts unit that has also gone through, done an assessment of some of the interviews that we've had regarding Travis and made a determination on maybe what his thought process was, what decisions he might have made, and where he had gone. In addition to our detectives also following through some of the financial documents, tracking areas that he had previously frequented. And we're optimistic that we will find him shortly. We'd also like to thank Spokane County Sheriff's Office for coming out, Sheriff Knowles, having their helicopter fly from 6 o'clock this morning to 11, as I understand it. At 11 o'clock, our helicopter was also on ground at the fish hatchery in Leavenworth to fly the Icicle Creek. We also deployed our Swiftwater rescue team to go through there and start searching the creek in cases that Travis did enter in there. The water is running pretty quickly now, thanks to the spring runoff. But we're optimistic that with our air units up in the sky, looking over the terrain, is definitely diverse when you're talking about the amount of acreage that we're covering, that we're doing the best we can. We also want to thank Sheriff Myers down in Kittitas County for deploying some of his search and rescue units, checking trailheads on the backside of Chelan County to see if there's any opportunity that Travis might have made it out to that location. We have learned so far through our investigation today that he is well versed in outdoor survival. And talking with his father, it sounds at times that he would go out and would be living off grid for sometimes up to 2.5 months. So we also understand too that he at times would do caching. So we understand that that's a possibility that he could have scoped out this area before, put supplies out there, and has the ability and the knowledge to survive for a long period of time. We saw this before a couple years ago when we assisted Kittitas County with a similar case. So we are putting our resources out. We saw our SWAT team today out off the icicle drainage, checking residences through there, in addition to us still having units out on the ground, continuing to check, in addition to expanding out and looking at local counties. So we're going to continue to do what we need to do, partnering with our federal partners. We will again want to say thank you to the FBI, Homeland Security that has assisted us more yesterday. Also going with the Marshal Services, the Washington State Patrol that has been working alongside of us, along with their detective units. And we've also had a forensics electronic detective going through the cell phone.
Okay, you can't say they're not being transparent with everything they're doing. Woo! Was talking to my husband about this morning, and he goes, oh, hell. He goes, they're throwing the whole kitchen sink at him. Meaning they got every agency that can possibly come through. Freaking Homeland Security. You got Border Patrol. Not just FBI. FBI's got a million different agencies. Just ask Jennifer Coffendaffer. She's a genius with it, right? I mean, they have the behavioral analysts looking at this. I mean, you name it, they've got it. Because he is dangerous.
Residences through there, in addition to us still having units out on the ground, continuing to check, in addition to expanding out and looking at local counties. So we're going to continue to do what we need to do, partnering with our federal partners. We will again want to say thank you to the FBI, Homeland Security that has assisted us more yesterday. I'm also going with the Marshal Services, the Washington State Patrol that has been working alongside of us, along with their detective units. And we've also had a forensics electronic detective going through the cell phone and other electronic items that we've collected on the scene. So we're hoping to gather more information, take that intel that we've gathered today, and continue to press on tomorrow. But at this time, we have not found Travis. My message is still the same. Travis, if you're out there seeing us, we'd like you to turn yourself in. We want a peaceful resolution to this, but we're not going to relinquish our efforts and giving up any effort that we can proceed to track you down. So please turn yourself in. Let's wrap this up and do what's right for your kids. So any questions?
Sir, are you any closer to establishing a motive?
No, and I don't think there'd be any motive that'd be acceptable. I mean, clearly, it's not the decision of a sound mind, and these young girls were a victim.
Was a body discovered in this area you're searching near Leavenworth today?
They were discovered earlier this week. It was outside Leavenworth. You're more up Icicle Drainage around milepost 18, around Rock Island Campground. And we do have a map that I think we've already shared online, but it is more of a rural campground.
Related to the case?
Okay. No, there was another individual that was located today, not related to the case, and that was out towards the Big Y where US 2 and 97 connect, but not related to the case.
Sheriff, you mentioned all Idaho, there were reports of possible sightings, or maybe it was just the fact that the department received tips. Any credibility to some of that? I know you mentioned they did some investigating. What have you learned from that?
I can tell you so far today, we had a possible sighting on East Leavenworth Road. We checked that out. It was not Mr. Decker. We had another one out at milepost 83, US 2. And then, of course, we continue to hear information about other possible sightings from across the nation. As we understood, based off the information we got back, was that the sighting in McCall, Idaho was not our suspect, but we'll continue to work with our neighboring agencies, not only here in the state, but across the nation, to help us track down any leads we do get.
What type of head start do you think he had knowing the truck was found Monday? When do you think he started to go out?
Worst case scenario, we could see that he might have gotten a head start on Friday, so he would have had the whole weekend to be out there, but we're still tracking it down. We will have our autopsy result.
He damn sure did get a head start on Friday. He damn sure did. And I'm not a detective. I could have told you that. When Whitney couldn't get a hold of him and Whitney called and she filed a police report, he was already hours ahead of them. So when people say with an Amber Alert, the kids could have been found alive. No, dude, he was way ahead of you. Way ahead of you. I wish it worked that way, but it doesn't. What's the Amber Alert done for Summer Wells? What did the Amber Alert do for Breja Terrell? What's the Amber Alert done for Sebastian Rogers? In Oklahoma, they seem to find him really quick because they're normally with a parent. This dude had a plan, okay? He's trained. You don't go out camping and bring zip ties unless you're putting up a tent that's broken and a bunch of plastic bags. They said there was a cooler out there, so maybe he did have a plan to do something nice with them, or maybe he did. And that was his final send-off. I don't know, but it's scary as F.
Also should be coming back tomorrow, and we'll get a better idea of what kind of time frame we're looking at.
Is there any knowledge that you guys may have of him possibly making his way back to Wisconsin where he's from?
We're not ruling anything out. So, I mean, we have been in touch with agencies, of course, across the nation and just tracking down leads. We are aware of other connections he has. We've interviewed friends, coworkers. We're optimistic that we can track down his location.
Sir, he left his truck behind. Did you find in that truck any writing, any note, anything that might have...
Our detectives are still going through that process. I know that we worked with the Washington State Patrol Crime Lab yesterday, in addition to our detectives, process all that information. And today, as I was leaving our emergency operations center, we did have members of the Washington State Patrol that were processing some of the cell phones we located in the vehicle.
What military training does he have that could be a factor in his ability to elude authorities?
We do understand, and we're getting more confirmation that he might have possibly gone through mountain survival school. But we also know, too, that he's been an outdoorsman since he was a kid. Talking with a parent, it seemed like this was something that he was attracted to, like doing in his free time. So clearly some of the knowledge he's probably acquired throughout his lifetime, in addition to the training he might or might not have acquired through the Army. is something that we're taking into consideration. But we do want to validate what trainings he's actually gone through, and we do have some U.S. Marshals tracking that down as well.
Sheriff, what is your reaction?
All right, so he has all the training, okay? He has all the training. Retro Girl said it's about 4.5 hours to get into Canada from where the girls were found. But they have Border Patrol there. So that's good. So the marshals have got to get into his military record and find out exactly what kind of skills he has. Obviously, it's beyond horrific what happened to Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. I do wonder if he is not going to come after Whitney. I don't need to put that out in the universe and make her feel worse. I can't imagine her feeling worse, but it can always happen. They said God only gives you what you can handle. Well, he must think she can handle a lot. He knows what he's doing, mentally ill or not.
The fact that he's been out and about, you said for as long as 2 months. Does that give you room for pause that he is no stranger to being out and living off the grid for so long?
Well, we're certainly an agency that learns from the past. I mean, we saw this before, I believe, around North Bend. I don't know how many years ago that was, where they had an individual who had been involved in a similar incident and then had dug himself a bunker out there. So we take that into consideration that he may be aware of our surroundings, has the ability to survive, and that's going to certainly make it more challenging, but we're up for that challenge. I mean, we recognize that 87% of our county is not accessible by road. We've been dealing with that over the last 125-year history of this agency. So we're no stranger to that. We're aware of our terrain, and we'll continue to work with our federal partners and U.S. forces.
This is a really good question. I was talking about this morning. I think I was talking to Diana. So do they know for sure that he doesn't have another vehicle or not? And is he armed or what? I guarantee he's armed. Okay. I guarantee he is. Another vehicle? That's a great question. He's got to be getting around somehow. But since he's a survivalist, he could be Bear Grylling this whole thing. You know? You ever watch that show, Bear Grylls? He could be doing that. It's really all up in the air. I mean, this, as you can tell, this is quite a conundrum for all these agencies, and there's a lot involved.
Himself a bunker out there. So we take that in consideration that he may be aware of our surroundings, has the ability to survive, and that's going to certainly make it more challenging, but we're up for that challenge. I mean, we recognize that 87% of our county is not accessible by road. We've been dealing with that over the last 125-year history of this agency. So we're no stranger to that. We're aware of our terrain, and we'll continue to work with our federal partners and U.S. Forest Service that has stepped alongside of us to assist us in possibly closing down some of the trails in the area in order to ensure, of course, that the environment stays safe for anyone who may come to visit, but that we also have access to go through there and start checking all the trails and locations that we believe he may recreate.
Sheriff, the longer this goes on, what concerns do you have about, you talk about the fight or flight mentality and when desperation kicks in? Obviously, there's that survival skills element of it, but the longer it goes on, I mean, we've seen where things often go. Do you have concerns for whether it be those who are out looking for him, just kind of where this could all come together and that the mentality someone may have when desperation mode kicks in?
We understand the mentality we're dealing with. We have a well-trained agency. We're a leader when it comes to de-escalation here in Washington State. We were one of the original agencies for that training hub, so we understand that we have the ability to control the pace of situations. We have behavioral health units. We have the ability to communicate with them, and we're going to continue to do that. But our primary goal is to track him down. Of course, we want to make sure that he's safe, but ultimately he will be brought to justice.
Sir, Mr. President, would take your confidence. What makes you confident given all the...
Not if the marshals get him. If the marshals get him, there will be no brought to justice because they just gonna kill him. You know what I'm talking about. If the marshals find him, that's it. Dunzo. They don't like fucking around with criminals. They'll just be like, hey, job's done.
the amount of partners that have come alongside of us. I mean, again, I've cited the U.S. Marshal Service, the FBI. We've had Homeland Security investigations. We've had Border Patrol's tracking team here. We've had Douglas County, East Wenatchee. The amount of resources that we put on this right away gives me confidence that we are doing everything possible. In addition to working with the behavioral analyst team and also bringing cadaver dogs, we're open to anything and everything. And so far, despite our limited resources, it's part of our mission statement with the resources entrusted to us. I think that a lot of people have come alongside us to help us out. That's why I'm optimistic. So we're not doing it alone.
You said that you've been in contact with his father. What has that interaction been like with his immediate loved ones? What are they telling you about their reaction to this immense tragedy? How are they handling it?
They're frustrated with the situation, clearly, but this is their son. So, of course, that they have concerns about his safety. But overall, they understand that he does have to be brought in and he has to be held accountable for his actions.
You know, the human factor of this just takes the wind out of my sails. Because again, he has parents. Travis has parents. And they're helping the officials find their son. And they know what's going to happen. They know if the marshals find him, they're probably going to kill him. They know if another agency finds him, like Homeland Security, he's going to be in jail for the rest of his life. And that must be one of the toughest decisions for a parent to make. I just couldn't imagine the emotions they're going through. Their son allegedly killed the granddaughters. Their son is somewhere out there, and there is a nationwide search for him. And they obviously believe everything that they have been told because the evidence speaks for itself that he's dangerous. And if I was old Ma and Pa Decker, I'd be afraid he's going to show up at their house and do something to them. My first thought was, he's going to kill Whitney. And since this all went down last Friday, and Canada's basically 4 hours away, he could be in Canada because they didn't get Border Patrol on this until Monday.
Actually been like with his immediate loved ones? What are they telling you about their reaction to this immense tragedy? How are they handling it?
They're frustrated with the situation, clearly, but this is their son. So, of course, that they have concerns about his safety. But overall, they understand that he does have to be brought in and he has to be held accountable for his actions.
One more question, please. One more question.
Sheriff, I just wanted to clarify. You said that with this survivor skills coming to light here, how does that change moving forward as we get further and further into this investigation?
Well, we understand that he can cover a lot of ground. I mean, certainly, based off what I know from him, he's in decent shape. And he has the ability to go out there, which, if anyone's been out in that part of the county, is thick. So it's going to make it more challenging for us to locate him. And especially if he's knowledgeable and he knows how to conceal himself, that will make a unique challenge for us. But we feel pretty confident in bringing members of Border Patrol in too, with their experience of working in more diverse terrain, especially along our Canadian border. We have people who are experts in that field as well, and also excel and have the military training as well. I mean, we recognize he's not a subject matter expert. I'm not going to glorify him in that sense. I do appreciate his service, but overall, we have other men and women who are assisting us who are also military veterans and have that kind of background and experience. And I would certainly point out our Forest Service deputy that was able to immediately locate it as soon as we got information about a general area where he's at. We're up for that challenge.
Yeah. There's lots of people, like he said. So when, people are wiping their eyes about, this guy that was in Afghanistan, who's a former Army Ranger and all this stuff, the sheriff is putting it right down. He's throwing it down. He's saying, we have people in this department that are former military that have been through the same thing he's been through. But guess what? They didn't kill their kids. there's not a nationwide manhunt for him. Listen to that again. This dude's got no shits to give. We had a comment in chat from Lauren. Got a little political. Wasn't quite understanding what she was talking about, but I think she needs to educate herself. She said in red states, they don't care about, there's not a lot of resources for people, and they don't care about mental health. Okay. I live in a red state. Please remember, this is a blue state. Washington is a blue state. So why in the hell you're trying to bring up politics into such a horrible situation is probably one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in my life. Washington is definitely a blue state. Gorgeous state, by the way. The Pacific Northwest. Damn, it's beautiful. So, you know, Lauren, I'm not dealing with that with you anymore.
Actually been like with his immediate government? What are they telling you about their reaction to this immense tragedy? How are they handling it?
They're frustrated with the situation, clearly, but this is their son. So, of course, that they have concerns about his safety. But overall, they understand that he does have to be brought in and he has to be held accountable for his actions.
One more question, please. One more question.
Sheriff, I just wanted to clarify. I mean, you said that with this survival skills coming to light here, how does that change moving forward as we get further and further into this investigation?
Well, we understand that he can cover a lot of ground. I mean, certainly, based off what I know from him, he's in decent shape, and he has the ability to go out there, which, if anyone's been out in that part of the county, is thick. So it's going to make it more challenging for us to locate him, and especially if he's knowledgeable and he knows how to conceal himself. That will make a unique challenge for us. But we feel pretty confident in bringing members of Border Patrol in too, with their experience of working in more diverse terrain, especially along our Canadian border. We have people who are experts in that field as well, and also excel and have the military training as well. I mean, we recognize he's not a subject matter expert. I'm not going to glorify him in that sense. I do appreciate his service, but overall, we have other men and women who are assisting us who are also military veterans and have that kind of background and experience. And I would certainly point out our Forest Service deputy that was able to immediately locate it as soon as we got information about a general area where he's at. We're up for that challenge. So, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I like how he ended that press conference just saying, you know, I'm not going to glorify him by his military record, because what it comes down to is this is what he did. This is what he did, dudes. He's a family annihilator. Ilyanka, thank you. She said, thank you, law enforcement, for mentioning that there are those trained like Travis. What are the difference, though? They don't have 3 babies zip tied. All right. Well, I see some things coming out today in this case. Remember, there is a nationwide manhunt. Okay. Please set your reminders. Let your buddies know. Let your buddies know. Share it. Say, we're going to continue talking about this. So if we don't have another show about Travis Decker today, considering what they say might be coming out, then maybe tomorrow. If not, it'll be another show tomorrow. Ilyanka said exactly. But they are looking for him. Yes, they, Travis, trained just like you. Just like you. If you want to call in a tip, you call it into the FBI. Hold on. It is 800 call FBI. 800 call FBI. You guys are the absolute best. Thank you, Mod Squad. Thank you, everybody, for being so level-headed, Not like Levi level-headed, but you know, common sense level-headed. And we're going to be on the up and up with this because this really is a very dangerous situation. You guys are the absolute best. Love you to pieces. Thank you for all the support of this channel. Thank you so much. And most of all, for being such an amazing friend to each other and to me. See you soon. Love ya.